Hello, I'm Laura Furiosi, divorced mother of 3, and I'm here with my mother, Lynette Galvin, with 35 years' experience in family law. You're listening to the Divorce Course podcast. Through our candid discussions, we hope to help you through your divorce or de facto separation. We will be answering the most commonly asked questions and covering the stages and steps that you will face on your way to freedom. Hello and welcome to the Divorce Course podcast. Welcome, Mum.
Hello, Laura.
Now, today is a little bonus episode because we are going to be talking about some of the new exciting features and updates that we've got in our DIY divorce blueprint.
We've been busy.
We have. And we have added a whole extra module that covers the pre-action procedures. Can you just run us through what the pre-action procedures are and why we needed to put it in our course, Mum? Because this course is for people who don't want to go to court.
Okay. It's odd, isn't it? Yes, but this is the court, the Family Law Act, requiring certain things to be done pre-action before you can file an application and ask the court to make a decision.
Right.
So it's set out in a practice direction. It came out in September 2021, and it has significantly changed the way that family law matters are dealt with. The court brought in a range of other measures, but I think the pre-action procedures and the practice direction have reiterated or reminded lawyers and parties that the key to family law is to sort things out and not go to a final hearing if you can help it.
And one thing that I noticed, because I'm not a lawyer, but when we were putting this new module together in the DIY course, I noticed that a lot of the things in the pre-action procedures we already did have in the course, and they do align with going to mediation outside of court and those first steps and the disclosure and all of that, but it's made it much more formal.
It has. And it was in the course because that's how I practice law.
Yeah.
Anyway, putting it in this direction means that everybody has to. And if they don't, then my new favourite thing as a lawyer was to write to the other side and remind them of the practice direction and the core principles of settling these matters and moving amicably. And lawyers have got a positive obligation now to not inflame matters. So, not to be aggressive in letter writing, and just to generally, let's all get these people through it, preferably before you even go to court.
Yeah, which is the whole goal of the course in the first place, to keep you out of court and keep your costs down.
We were ahead of our time.
We were. So we've added in this extra module, and the first lesson we obviously go through the pre-action procedures. What are they? We've got a little map for you that you can follow so you know where you're up to as you go along. Lesson 2 is all about sharing your orders and inviting them to mediation, which is one of the pre-action procedure steps you must take.
It is.
And you have to write the letter in a specific way and yada, yada, yada. That's all in there along with the letter template. Then there's lesson 3, how to provide your disclosure, which sounds easy, but when we did the lesson, we realized, okay, this is really hard.
It's not that easy. And for a start, right, so I wonder if you're getting infected with legal jargon, talking too long on these podcasts, because who knows what disclosure is?
I know.
Do you know that? You used a legal term.
Yes.
Does it mean you disclose all your sins in the past?
Yes.
No.
So it's all your money, all your assets,
all your documents,
any information that would be relevant to making an agreement.
Yes. And the way the rules used to say it is any document in your possession, power or control, and that includes electronic documents, that is relevant to property settlement.
So so it's a big, very expensive step that you can take with a lawyer, or you can try and do some of it yourself with our course, or you can have a lawyer and do our course and do the step in, step out. But we have the checklist for disclosure. We have the letters asking for disclosure. We have the letters explaining how to do disclosure. And we also talk you through how to set up your disclosure system so that you're not constantly chasing your tail. Because, Mum, one thing I didn't know in disclosure is you have to keep providing it until you settle.
That's right.
So you don't just go, here's my disclosure. You have to keep disclosing until the end.
Yep. And I think it is a significant part of the costs of people who, whether they go to court or not, it's a big, expensive step. And the reality is your lawyer doesn't know what you've got to disclose. So they say to you, you have to provide these documents. You go, okay, and you spend a couple of days rummaging around through your cluttered inbox or in your filing cabinet, and then you produce all those documents to the lawyer. The lawyer's got to read them. His staff or her staff have to put them in order and then provide a link now to the other side where it's Dropboxed and an index. There's a lot of work
And
there.
if you listen to our cost lawyer episode where we literally go through the scheduled costs and fees, you would realise that would cost a lot of money.
It costs so much money.
Yeah.
And it is something that if you're a little bit organised, you can do it yourself, and that will save a lot of cash.
So that's the new module. We also then have the last steps, and that is, if you went to mediation, which is the whole module as well, we've got the mediation module, how to prep for that, how to do all the documents, how to go, what happens on the day. But if none of that works, and then you do our next module, avoiding the court roller coaster, and none of that works, you can then do the last steps in the pre-action procedures. And we talk you through that so that you can actually officially file in court, because unless you have done these steps, you can't. And then you would have to go all the way back to the start and restart all your negotiations and get it all done so you can file in court. So this is going to save you bacon.
It does. And I think creating the disclosure list as you go means that you, as new documents come into your possession, you just add them to the list. You get it all automated.
Yeah. And now the other great things that we've added into the course, which are really, really, really having a massive effect, I think, for our members that I want everyone to know about if you are thinking about getting the course, because it is open for enrollment.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yes. If you are interested, go and have a look now. The things that are really having a huge impact is the weekly member Q&A.
Yes.
Now, we don't mean 52 weeks of the year, because I don't think Mum's going to do it over Christmas, but there are basically during school term, on a Wednesday, Mum and I turn up and our members come along and they ask their questions and Mum answers them to the best of her ability, giving general tips and education on the situation they're in. She can't give full and frank legal advice because she doesn't know their full situation. But you would be surprised, hey, Mum, at how much information these people have learnt and how much less overwhelmed they feel when a topic pops up or a letter comes that week and they're freaking out about it. And maybe they've got a lawyer, but they can't go see their lawyer for another 2 weeks. They can just say,
too much.
hey, Lynn, what's your thoughts on this? So
it is interesting, isn't it? Because I think I answered 20 or 30 questions in the hour, usually. But it's odd how people will chime in because there's chat at the side.
And they go, that's my ex.
Or we married the same person. Or they say, oh, that's exactly what's happening to me. I needed to know this. So it's quite educational, I think.
And that brings us on to the next thing that we've added into the course that's starting to take off as well is the community group. So it's not a Facebook page, it's not a social media page, it's on the actual course page. You can only see it if you're a member.
It's very private.
Very private. And what you can actually do is go into our community group. And I've created, they're called circles. And so there are some people who are dealing with divorce and homeschooling and worrying about that. There's a circle for them. There's some people who are trying to figure out family report writers, and there's a circle for that. And they just write messages to each other and offer advice and tips.
And support.
And
I think we had someone wanted to know were there any recommended family report writers in the Sydney area, and we directed them to the circle to ask some of the other people there.
Yeah, we also, there's people in there that share their favourite quotes or, a little summary of where they're up to without disclosing too much information about their private information. But there's a lot of support there and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So it's kind of, this course has evolved, Mum. It's taken legs and run off on its own, own little world. But I just think it's really important that everyone knows that this does exist, the course exists, and you get access to Mum and me once a week on the member Q&A. If you become a platinum member, you get to have a chat with her, but it is a really good system and it has been working so well.
We get very excited when people get to the end of their matters and they've resolved it all and saved themselves the money, because usually at the end of a family law case, when you've solved it all, it's tempered a little bit by how much it cost you. So,
Yeah, and I just want to read one of our members who I won't disclose her full name, but her name was Kelly. And she said, if I didn't do this course, I'd still be completely stuck and overwhelmed and simply not getting anywhere. Now I feel really empowered. And I love that. Another one was, this has hands down been the most helpful and supportive resource along my entire process. These amazing women, Mum, we're amazing, and incredibly experienced, knowledgeable, and offer practical, actionable valuable advice. And that same member said in the end that course had saved her paying hours of time with her expensive lawyers, and she can't thank us enough.
No, so sweet.
I wanted everyone to know that the course is there. It talks you through each step of the way. The first 2 modules, it's all about the baby steps to your new future. It's the really beginning start. It's not getting into the nitty-gritty of legal. It's just getting into what are the rules, like who can leave the house, what are you supposed to do with the kids in the first couple of weeks. All of that information's there in those first 2 modules, setting yourself up. There's a lot of pitfalls that people fall into with divorce, the things they didn't think about.
Yeah.
So we give you checklists of things to think about in those first few stages.
Even if you're thinking about leaving.
Yeah, and you haven't left yet. There's great stuff. If you haven't got our checklist for before you leave, that's free. You can jump on the website and grab that today. But then we also, of course, take you through how to write your own consent orders and negotiate that for children's. So if you've got a parenting plan you want to create or a consent order, we talk you through how to do it, how to negotiate it. We give you the letter templates. We give you the order templates. We tell you how to fill in the forms and we tell you how to file it.
That's right.
And with property, Mum talks you through step by step so you have a really good understanding of what is going on in your case, what you are likely to get, what percentages. And Mum, to the members that do end up talking to you through the Platinum, you're finding that they're doing the homework
wonderful.
and getting it spot on?
Spot on, because there's always a range. If you ask 2 lawyers, there'll be about 5 or 10 percentage difference, in what a person should get. And I think if you ask a few judges, they might come up with slightly different answers. So they're talking to me, and they already are pretty spot on with what they think they're able to get. And just a little bit of a chat and we can tweak it so it's perfect. We always get if they don't talk to me, or even if they do, they should go and see a lawyer with their final orders. But I am astounded. I mean, it isn't rocket science. Any person who's reasonably competent at their job can do what they need to do to get through the court. It's been designed to be user-friendly, but unfortunately their idea of user-friendly still leaves a lot of very vague words. And
the 1700s.
Well, you can't blame them. We're all... I think when you become a lawyer, they do something to your brain and you never talk really the same way ever again.
And that's what this course is for.
Yeah.
So we do have so many members who've got lawyers and they still do the course, but it saves them money because they're not waiting for the lawyer to explain things. They know what's happening next. They can be proactive. They can do the work before they even go into their first meeting and save themselves hundreds of thousands, if or just knowing what you're going to settle, knowing what's a number that is reasonable. You're not going to be fighting for the pie in the sky number that no one's ever going to give you.
That's exactly right. So, and you can tell if you know the law, then you know why they're asking you for something. You can probably even anticipate the next thing they're going to need. And it just is such a gift, I think, to the lawyer.
That's right. So we talk you through those 2 modules to create your consent orders or proposed consent orders. Then we talk you through those pre-action procedures and then the mediation, how to prepare for it, how to get the mediation, how to nail it, and hopefully get them to agree to your proposed orders.
And there's our 4 personality types that we've identified, and each one of those personality types has a different approach. There's manipulative and controlling and high conflict, and then there's your amicable, and then your avoidant person. Your avoidant person, and very few people are a mixture of all of those. Usually one of these traits is very dominant and there's maybe a secondary
and
trait.
There's different ways to approach it because you can't fit a square peg in a round hole. So hopefully if you've got any of those types of divorce personality types, you can use this course and follow the guidance Mum offers for each type of personality. Once you've done the mediation, if that doesn't work, the next module is all about renegotiating and staying out of the court, and then potential arbitration if that's something you want to do instead of court. And then, of course, we then talk about glitch happens. So hopefully by then, because we talk you through the course how to file the consent orders, you've come to an agreement, you file it in the court, it's all done. What happens if something goes wrong? And, what do you do? What do you do if they don't follow the orders? What do you do if something comes up that you didn't think about? So we talk about that in the glitch happen module. And then we talk you through how to do your actual paperwork for your divorce.
Yeah, the actual unmarrying of somebody. If you're not de facto and you're actually married, then you need to file a document that gets you unhooked and allows you to remarry if you want to, or just be independent.
And of course, we also have an accompanying module that goes with every step of the way for anybody who is experiencing family violence or domestic violence, a guided information for each step of the way to just give you a little bit of extra. This is probably something you should consider doing whilst doing your mediation or whilst doing your letter negotiation. So it accompanies that along the way as well. So, Mum, it is an amazing course that has evolved over the last 2 years, and you're amazing. And it will continue to evolve, and we continue to update it as we go along.
Yeah.
But I think I just stress to anybody out there who is considering it, we open the doors. We will be closing them again. We don't just have enrollments any time of the year. We want to nurse and support our members the way through the journey, and we really focus on the new ones in the first couple of weeks so that they can get settled in. So if you would like to do the course, you're thinking about doing the course, you're thinking about getting separated, or you are getting separated, definitely jump onto the website www.thedivorcecourse.com.au /
Yes.
Okay. Enroll and have a look and see if it suits your needs, and jump in and get it, because we only have a certain amount of membership options open and spots open, particularly for the platinum, because there's only one mum. So there's only a certain amount of platinums we can bring through, and we will close doors sooner if we reach that before the end. And also when it comes to our non-platinum members who don't chat with mum but get to see her in the weekly Q&As anyway, we will have to put a minimum stop to that as well. We can't have too many coming through, because otherwise we can't give you our attention. So jump on there. If you're listening to this, that means either
you are
on the day, either on the day it's about to open, you are a member, you already know. And if you're not and you want to be, please don't miss your chance, because we won't be doing it again till next year.
That's right.
Yeah. So looking forward to hopefully meeting some new faces. Not that we actually technically see your faces because it's all anonymous, but we see your chats, and hopefully we can accompany you along your journey. Thank you, Mum, for giving this little bonus, explaining our course to everybody.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, it's a funny one. We've never done one like this before, but we realised it's probably worth podcasting. So the other thing that we do. And of course the sale of the course supports our work in the podcast.
That's right. And if you know anybody who would be interested in doing the course, flick it to them as well. But yes, if you are a member and you find our podcast helpful, you will find the course extremely helpful.
Oh, if you aren't a member.
Yeah, sorry, if you listen to the podcast but you're not a member, yes, you will realise it will actually be quite helpful as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mum. Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye. If you found this podcast helpful, we'd love it if you could rate, review and subscribe. By doing so, you are spreading the word to help someone else just like you. Lynn would like to remind you that this podcast is general advice only, and you should always get legal advice in relation to your particular situation. And remember that the Australian laws may have changed since recording.